Today was a leg day, and halfway through it, I learned something about myself that has nothing to do with legs. Let me tell you what happened. If you're new here, I'm Mehdi. I go by Ali. I coach men and women who feel invisible, who keep starting over, who are tired of quitting on themselves. I coach them because I used to be one of them. And today's session is a perfect example of exact thing that separates a guy who changes from the guy who actually quits. So here's how today went. I started with heavy leg press and I paired it with the heel elevated dumbbell squats back and forth between the two. Press, then squat, then press, then squat. No real rest. Just moving from one into another while my legs were already screaming. If you have never done that, let me explain what it does to you. The leg press lets you move serious weight. Then, before your leg can recover, you drop to squats, and then they are trying already exhausted. So even lighter weight feels brutal. You're working on muscles that are already begging to stop. And here's what it gets interesting. Because there's a moment in that kind of training where your body quits negotiating and starts begging. Somewhere in the middle of it, my legs were shaking, my lungs were done, and that voice showed up. That one, that one that goes, that's enough. You have done plenty. Nobody will blame you if you stop right here, right now. And I want you to be honest with you about that voice. For years, I've listened to it every single time because the old me trained until I got hard and then I stopped. That was my pattern in everything, just not just the gym. The second I got uncomfortable, the second it stopped being fun, I was out. I would quit the workout, quit the diet, quit the goal, and start over months later just like a failure. That voice ran my life. But today, when I showed up in the middle of that superset, I did something different. I kept going. I switched back to the heavy leg press. Legs already dead, and I pushed through another round anyway. Not because I felt strong. I didn't. I felt like garbage, bro. I kept going because I decided before I walked in that I would. That's the whole difference. And that's the thing I really want you to understand because it's bigger than the leg day. The weight was never the point. The muscle is just the side effect. What I'm actually training every time I push through that voice is the ability to hear it and not obey it. Because that voice doesn't only show up under a leg press, it shows up when the work gets hard, when the diet gets boring, when nobody's clapping for you, when you could quit and no one would even notice. It's the same voice every time offering you the easy way out. And every single time you push past it, you're training one thing. You're teaching yourself that you don't have to listen to it, that you can feel the urge to quit, but you keep going. That's a skill that a lot of people miss. And it's a skill that changes your entire life, not just your legs. Then I finished with abs, rope pull downs on my knees, curling my stomach in, crunching down against the weight. And by the point, I'm completely cooked. Legs are gone, energy is gone, and the session should be over. And this is exactly the moment most people mail it in. The last exercise, tank empty. It would be easy for me to just go through the motions and call it a day. But that finisher, when you're already exhausted, is where the real work comes in. Because anybody can give their best when they're fresh. Giving your best when you have nothing left, when nobody blames you for phoning it in, that's completely a different thing. That's not abs, that's just practice for your whole life. So I curled every rep, slow, control, squeezing when I wanted to quit, finishing the session the way I said I would, not the way I felt like. And when I racked everything and walked out, I wasn't thinking about my legs or my abs. I was just thinking about that voice, that one that told me to quit halfway through it. And the fact that today I didn't listen to it because that's who I'm actually trying to become. Not the guy with big legs, a guy who doesn't fold. Second, it gets hard. So let me bring you to this. If you're the guy who quits when it gets uncomfortable, when the excitement fails or something, when it stops being fun and starts being work, I want you to hear this. That was me for years. It's not a character flaw. It's a skill that you have never built. And you built it in exactly these moments. The middle of the hard set, the last exercise when you're empty, the morning you don't feel like it. Every time you feel like the voice is telling you to quit and you go anyways, you're building the one thing that changes everything. You don't need more motivation. Motivation was always going to run out. What you need is to learn to keep going after your body asks you to stop. That's what today was. Not a leg workout, a rep of a skill that rebuilt my entire life. So here's what I want you to do. This week, find that one moment where you are normally quit. You just one moment. The set you would cut short, the workout you would skip, the thing you keep avoiding. And when that voice shows up, offering you the easy way out, notice it and go anyway, just once. That's how it starts. That's how it started for me. If this is the version of yourself you're trying to build, follow, like, and subscribe, and stick around because that's all I talk about here. And if you're tired of doing it alone, that's exactly why I help men with. But for now, just go find your movement and what the voice tells you to quit, keep going. I'll see you in the next one.